Hello there, Spire Tennos. I am not using my headphones for some reason. Oh, I'm stuck in cable hell. Lord, send someone to save us. Alright. I don't know why I just said that. I'm not religious. Let's try that again. God damn it, cables. Hello there, Spire Tennos. In this video, I'll cover everything liches and Sisters of Powers. This includes where to get a lich, how to kill a lich, what rewards you can expect, what the odds of getting those rewards are, and how you cannot profit from doing this. Alright, let's get right into it. But first, if you're enjoying the content, why not subscribe? It helps up the channel. We're almost at 200 subscribers. When you get yourself a Kuva lich or a Sister of Powers, you will not be able to cancel them until you have killed them or converted them. So make sure you have everything you need before you get started. The main thing that you're going to need is these 6 Requiem mods. The ones you need is Faz, Yahoo, Kara, Lohek, Netra, Riz, Vame, and Sata. Now let's talk about how you can get your hands on these. So, as always, these Requiem mods can just be purchased from other players, but if you don't want to do that, well, then there is another option. What you want to do, first and foremost, is that you want to go to your alerts. And also I should mention that these will not be available if you have not completed the quest within yet. So these Kuva Siphons here, as you can see, by completing this most difficult version of it, you will be given a good amount of Kuva, and you will also be given a Requiem relic as a guaranteed drop. And this you can do once per hour. If you want to keep farming this, then you can do these as well, which are slightly easier. So also if this is too difficult and you can't find a squad to do it with, you can always do these instead. But these will only have a chance of giving you a Requiem relic. Now, once you have gotten your hands on some of these Requiem relics, then you want to go to the Kuva Fortress, and I'm stalling because I cannot seem to find it right now. There it is. Good. And, you know, no need to make it any more difficult than it has to be. So you can see here we have these fissures. They are unlike normal fissures in the sense that when doing these, you'll have to pick a Requiem relic instead. And if we take a look at the reward table, you can see here we have the opportunity to get Riz and Faz and so on and so forth from these relics. So that's how you farm them. It's best if you upgrade them to Rat, but you can just run them as intact and have a decent enough chance of getting what you want, especially if you're doing it with a squad. These mods are a little pricey, so it might be worth farming them out instead of buying them from other players. Once you have a full set, then you will very likely not have to do these missions anymore, as the hunt itself for the Kuva liches and sisters will give you more relics. Let's talk about how you can actually go about getting yourself a lich or a Sister of Powers. The liches are definitely the easiest. All you need to do is go to a planet which is occupied by the Grenier and then run a mission on it. I could run this Exterminate, for example, and at some point the screen will start flashing orange. Again, this is only after you completed the War Within. And that's the quest, by the way. So the lights will start to flicker orange, and when that happens, you have to start killing enemies as fast as you can. If you kill enough, then a I don't remember what it's called. I think it's a Kuva lich fledgling will spawn, and when you kill them, they will kneel like a capture target. And when you approach them, their weapon will appear over their head. So if you decide to execute them, then you will initiate the hunt. And at which point you will have to complete it before you can do another hunt or even get rid of the lich at all. Now, Sisters of Powers is slightly more complicated. Firstly, you will need to complete the Deadlock Protocol. Once this happens, then the Protectors of Granum will start spawning, and when killed they will drop a Granum coin. You have to kill them at a high enough level, and the easiest way to do this is to go to Hydra and wait for them to spawn. Once you have the coin, then you want to use it on a golden hand, which also spawns in this map. And I mean that literally it's a giant golden hand. But you'll already know this if you've completed the Deadlock Protocol. You want to enter the Granum Void and complete it as quickly as possible. Once this is done, then a Sister of Powers will be able to spawn, and from there it's basically the same with Kuva Siphons. You get to see what weapon they have, and if you're willing to accept that choice, then you execute them and the hunt begins. Which Warframe you decide to bring to this mission is not irrelevant. As you can see here, the LICH will inherit a type, a damage type, mostly elemental, depending upon which Warframe you bring. So, the most part you want heat, but there is a couple of weapons which prefer toxin and some prefer electric. You probably want to look this up on a one-to-one basis and get the community's consensus on what is best for that weapon at that time. But, you know, definitely don't bring impact. So, there's that. Once the hunt begins, let's talk Kuva Liches first. The Kuva Lich will inherit Earth, and some of the nodes on Earth will start glowing red. Whenever you do missions on Earth going forward, the Lich will steal some of your resources, but don't worry, you'll get it back when you kill them. So, when one of these nodes lights up red, you want to click on it, and then you want to start it as a Lich mission. In this mission, ghouls will start spawning, which will have a mark over their head, so they're very easy to identify. You want to go ahead and kill them and then execute them with your Parison, which you will have at this point. Once the the ghoul is dead, it will give you a little bit of murmur, and don't worry, I'll explain murmur a little bit more in a moment. So eventually, the more you play, the more angry your Lich get, and the higher the chance it has of spawning. When it spawns, then you'll have to reduce its health down to 0. It has 4 bars, and you just have to reduce the first bar down to 0, and then you will have the opportunity to try and execute them. Whether you succeed or not, the Lich will then move on. It's me from the future. I made a mistake in the video, and I'm here to correct it. So, when you kill your Lich, for the first, or not kill it, but you try to kill it and fail for the first time, then the Lich will move on. It will start on Earth, and it will go to Mars, from Mars onto Ceres, from Ceres onto Sedna, and from Sedna to the Kuva Fortress. For the Sisters of Powers, they will start on Venus, go to Probus, then to Jupiter, then to Neptune, and end up on Pluto. Okay, on with the rest of the video. So, let's go and talk about how you actually go about killing your Lich, or Sister of Powers. This is where you will need your Requiem Mods. So here we are in the arsenal. We want to take out our Parison and take a look at it. So just go and throw something on here. I'm going to talk about Owl in a moment, or Null, I guess you can call it. So basically, when you first get your Lich, you will know nothing about their sequence. As you continue to play, you will start gaining Murmur, which will be a little circle down here that will complete more and more as you play. Once you complete this circle, you will get a clue, which means that a symbol will light up over here, and it will tell you, for example, it might tell you Kara. So then you take Kara and you slot it into your Parison. Now, the game will not tell you where in the sequence this appears, only that it's part of the sequence. And what I mean by sequence is that in order to kill your Lich or Sister, you have to get 3 of these right in a row. So when you attack them, you will see that either it lights up white, which means that it was correct, at which case you can continue to fight your Lich or Sister. Either way, it will be crossed out with a red mark, and then the Sister will flee. Then you know that this was not the mod which appears in that slot of the sequence. Now, if you knew nothing about the sequence beforehand, let's just say that, you know, we haven't gotten any clues yet, and it wasn't Riz, you probably just want to swap these two, because it could still be Riz in this slot. It just wasn't Riz in this slot. If you know that it's Netra, for example, and we try Netra and we don't succeed with it, it can still, you still know that Netra is somewhere in the sequence. So if we put it here, then we have a 50-50% chance of getting it right next time. Whenever you attempt to kill your LICH, whether you succeed or fail, well, you will. Well, that's not true, because if you succeed, then you'll just kill them. So if you fail, then you will get 10 murmurs as well. And your entire team gets 10 murmurs. So whenever a LICH or sister appears, just try with the sequence that you have. If everyone shares their sisters and their leeches, then everyone will be done faster. Good. So, that out of the way, let's talk about Owl. And by the way, eventually you will know all 3 symbols, and you will be able to just guess away. Also, your failed attempts will show up here, so you can strategize, try and figure out the sequence there. So it's not just guesswork. Owl works as any of these Requiem mods. So I could slot this in for, I don't know, Risk, for example. And whatever's supposed to be here, this will always work as that, because it mimics the actual symbol that you need. So yeah, make sure that you get the most out of that. It won't tell you which symbol is supposed to be here, but it will still work as that symbol. Now, you may see these red dots in the bottom, and that's basically the charges which is left on the Requiem mod. These charges will go down once you successfully kill your LICH or sister, so you're free to attempt it as many times as you want without any consequence. Eventually, you will get the sequence right, and then you want to go to the railjack. Let's do that now. So, we're here. Good. Now, your LICH or your sister will flee to one of these planets, either Saturn or Neptune, depending upon if it's a LICH or a sister. So then one of these nodes will glow, and you want to click on that. Okay, so then you'll be taken to a mission where, if you're doing it in a squad where everyone has a LICH, then there will, or sister, then there will be 4 mini bosses, which is the sisters or the LICHs. And once you kill your LICH or sister, we could just have had Kuva LICHs. Anyways, once you kill them there, then you will have the choice between converting them or vanquish them. And then once you've done that, if you convert them, then you'll be able to use them as supports in your railjack, and you'll be able to trade them with other players. However, if you decide to do the other thing instead that I can't pronounce, then you will get their weapon instead. And that's probably what you want to do most of the time, unless you want to try and sell them, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Alright, that's fine and all. That's the how-to. But how do you actually do it? Alright, so let's go and take a look at Mesa here. I think it's base build, right? Yeah. This is about as basic as it gets, and this is about the cheapest you can, this is about the cheapest build which can actually kill a LICH. So, this is about 10,000 endo, and none of these mods are like exclusive to this build. The only pseudo expensive part is Adaption, which is just so good. If you don't have it, you should go ahead and get it. Fleeting Expertise and Blind Raids are both corrupted mods, but they're used in almost every build, so go ahead and get those. You probably already know this. So that's about the cheapest that you can deal away with the LICHs and the sisters in the levels themselves. Now, in terms of the boss battles, if you have a level 5 LICH, then this probably will not do. Then what can we do to fix this? Well, LICHs and sisters have one of the most evil kind of damage reduction, because it scales with your damage. The more damage you do, the more damage reduction they have. Can we bypass that somehow? Yes, we can. I mean, there's always a way to bypass these different mechanics. So let's go and take a look at one of the most underrated frames in the entire game. This is Bouncy Prime. Well, or just normal Bouncy, which can be gotten from the Tenno Lab, which is very accessible. The ability that breaks this is her sonar. Like, just in general, this is a insanely powerful damage buff. And if you want a damage buff for your weapon frame setup, this is it. This is your support. But What makes her even greater at taking down the Liches and the Scissors of Powers is the fact that this bypass, like the additional damage you get from this, bypasses this restriction of increasing damage or more damage resistance. So this will basically deal full damage against them. It's very, very powerful. The Liches literally melt. If you can get a mark on one of their weak spots and then, you know, let your teammates hit that while you hit away somewhere, as you are very squishy, then the Liches will pretty much just be one shot. So that's how you deal with them. You can see a 7 times multiplier. And by the way, these marks can stack over one another, so you can have multiple instances of 7 times more damage. Okay. Now then, I would like to talk directly to some of the more experienced hunters out there who has already collected all of the weapons they're interested in, and now they want to know if they can profit from it. This was a question asked directly of me, so I felt like I should answer it. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So these are the elemental percentages that you can get on your weapons. So we have from 25 to 40, from 40 to 50, from 50 to 55, and from 55 to 60. And this is the percentages of getting these different results, which is just, you know, the number of options. And there are 35 options between 25 and 60. Whoops. And as you see, it's just divided by 15 because there's a difference of 15 between 25 and 40. Good. And then this is the profit that you will get. Getting a 25 to 40 is basically useless. Getting a 40 to 50 is like decent profit. And to be honest with you, if we're up into the 50s, maybe this goes up to 100. So this number is a little bit dishonest, but then again, some of the 40s are actually lower than 80, so it about evens out. Then, you know, the prices really start to rise here, and if you get really lucky to draw one of these, then yeah, you're gonna be able to sell it for a good amount. Now, over here we have not considered Impheras, so we will go ahead and do that now. Now, we don't really care about all Impheras because, you know, they're not worth as much as I'd like them to be. You'd be hard pressed to sell it for 100, but I just put it up to 100. So, yeah, I just checked Warframe.market and they do not sell for 100. None of them does. But, you know, maybe you'll get lucky. Don't waste your time in trade chat because then there is an opportunity cost of sitting there instead of farming something else. Okay. Now, we don't care about all Impheras because even if we have an Imphera on a 55, we don't care about that because the value of the item is in the percentages, not in the Imphera. The Imphera does not like influence the price at all. However, if you get a terrible like 25, having a Imphera on it will actually raise the price because now it's based on that instead. So we calculate this by a LICH or sister will get an Imphera 20% of the time. So this is 20% of the time when you would have gotten a 25 to 50. Okay. And you know, this then sells the, it does not, but let's just pretend like it sells for 100. And this up here is then reduced by 20%. So basically I've moved 20% of the LICH you would have gotten up here down here instead, to give, you know, this whole setup a fighting chance. So we're down here, and this is the total amount. Not the total amount, but this is the average you will make on your Kuva LICH, which is 122. If we pretend like this is actually 100. All right. So let's take a look at it. Let's say it takes you 2 hours to run a Kuva LICH, which is very realistic. Can you do it faster? Yeah, I mean, obviously RNG plays a huge part in it. Can you reliably run it faster than this? I don't think so. Kuva LICHs just take a long time to run, and the same with the Scissors of Powers. But let's just say an hour and a half then. Okay, so all in all, and you have to keep in mind that it's really annoying to try and sell these. It's very frustrating. It takes a lot amount of time, which means that you can't get the profit immediately and reinvest it. Sometimes it takes multiple days. You have to be on for many hours. Just, you know, you don't have to play the game, but at least you have to be online, so on and so forth. And even with that, even if we, I don't think you can do it in an hour and a half. That's a little bit ridiculous. So let's say 2 hours. Let's say 2 hours. You get 61 platinum an hour. It's really, really, really bad. And I think the trap that most people fall into is that they look at like 500 platinum for like a Kuva LICH or whatever, and then they're like, I'll just hit this 14% chance twice in a row, or like 3 times in a row, and then I'll make 1200 platinum. What is the odd of hitting this 3 times in a row? Let's go ahead and find out. Why not? Right? No need to theory craft. Can't see the keyboard. Ah, damn. Ah, come on. There. Hit this 3 times in a row. 0%. It's not 0%. It's 0.003%. You're not gonna get that lucky. Okay? Never ever assume that you're going to get lucky, because you're setting yourself up for failure by doing that. Yeah, Kuva LICH is not a good idea to farm, and this should be kind of obvious in a way, because it's an event that's always there, and it doesn't, and sorry, not an event, it's just always there, and like there's no crazy high demand for it. Most people are not min-maxing their Kuva weapons, and if you're not, then well, you're not gonna go out and buy it. You're just gonna get it for free by because keep in mind, even if you buy these, you still have to farm them out. You still have to capture them. Okay, you don't just get the weapon. So yeah, it's a lot. So yeah, if you're cool with 61 an hour, cool. I do not recommend it. Anyways, I guess I'll just see you guys in the next one.